But based on the limited experiences that I have had in my life, to the future of India sitting behind, I have my story to tell you and the lessons that I have learned in my life. So this mountain called life, if you have to scale this, we need to learn the art of not just scaling the mountains, but the art of living a meaningful and purposeful life. This whole idea of Sat, Chit and Anand beautifully sums up what is required to be done. But in one point I would like to differ from all the speakers who were there before me. When we talk about the work-life balance, it's quite a misnomer according to me. Why? Because for me, work is not something separate from life. You do not work going out of your life. If you are teaching, if you are studying, if you are working for a corporate, all that is a part of your life. So it is not to balance work and life. It is to learn the art of living, the art of a beautiful, meaningful life. And that is something that we will learn in the next few minutes with the help of Sat, Chit and Anand. Not to go in the technical meanings of these terms, because that's been amply emphasized and spoken about. But what is the truth? What is my truth? What is your truth? That is the biggest question. And the answer to this question, what is your truth? The answer is that if life is a mountain, all of us are bigger than this mountain. The mountain may be Mount Everest, but we belong to a species who has never failed in the history of human civilization. So life may be a mountain, but we are better. We have it in us to scale the biggest of the mountains and come out of the deepest of the oceans. That is the truth. So the starting point of the evolution that we are talking about, the transformation to harmonize life, is to realize your inherent potential. To realize that there are no problems. Life will never give you problems. Life gives you situations. And it is up to us whether we want to create problems out of those situations, or we try to analyze those situations, those circumstances, and come out with a solution that takes us to the top of the mountain. So the truth is the starting point. The Sat is the starting point. And Chit, the awareness, is the process that is required by all of us. The consciousness, the awareness that yes, we have the potential. Ultimately, this entire concept is based on the Vedantic philosophy. Shankaracharya says, Brahm Satyam Jagat Mithya Jivo Brahmeva Napara, which means this entire world is an illusion. Let's not believe that for the time being. But the second part says that all of us are part of that ultimate energy, that supreme consciousness. We're all destined towards that. We're all evolving towards that, going towards that. So that is the process, the consciousness. And finally, the end product is the bliss. That is the destination. But let me tell you, bliss is not just in the destination. Bliss lies in the journey, in what we do every day repeatedly. That is the bliss. Let me tell you briefly about myself so that you can relate to why I am saying all this. I come from a very small town called Akhnur, which is in Jammu and Kashmir. It's a border town. As a school going and as a college going kid like you, I was also not very clear as to what is the goal of my life. But there was only one thing that was absolutely clear. The purpose was to serve my country and the countrymen in whatever way possible. That was the purpose. That was absolutely clear. There was no doubt in that, as ma'am was telling. Clarity was always there that I want to serve my country, but how? I was not sure. So in the pre-final year of my college, a team of army officers came to the college for the interview. Without any preparation, I sat in the interview and somehow I got through. I was sent to the SSB in Allahabad. Thankfully, I got selected there also. And parallelly, I also appeared for the Air Force examination, which is the FCAT, which some of you might be aware. So 2014, I finished up with my graduation in the month of June. 5th of July, I had my joining for the Air Force. 8th of July, I had the joining for the Indian Army. And I surrendered to my fate and joined the Indian Army. So that was the purpose. I chose to serve the country in the form of a uniform, in the form of olive greens. So ultimately, I continued to work and work and work in the army and enjoyed the work that was given to me. But then an incident happened in my life. 2017, I sustained an injury which was very serious. I injured my spine, I injured my ankle. Even as I stand before you today, I have a bruised spine and a bruised ankle. But the soul is invincible. The soul and the spirit is as alive as it was 10 years ago before the injury. So 2019, I made a choice. I may not be able to serve the Indian Army as effectively as I would like to because of the injury. So I decided to prepare for UPSC Civil Services. 2021, I appeared, I could not clear. 22, I appeared again. I qualified this time and was allotted the Indian Railway Service. I took leave and appeared again. And with the results in 2024, I was allotted the Indian Police Service. As I stand before you, I am in the Indian Police Service. But the point here is, what did I learn out of this? There were times when I was injured. I felt really dismal. I felt disappointed. But let me tell you, not for a moment did I question God or the universe that why is this happening? Because I knew my truth. I was self-conscious that everything is taking me to the destination I am supposed to reach. I never said, God, that why did I get injured? I was an active sports person. I loved playing basketball. I loved playing cricket. Since 2017, I have not been able to go to the field. But I do not regret that. Because maybe had that not happened, I would not be standing in front of you today. Because while we are donning the uniform in the army, we are not supposed to interact with the outside world publicly. So the Sat, Chit and Anand is the fulcrum around which life has to revolve. The entire bliss is in the process. Let me tell you, when I cleared my SSB for the Air Force, for the Indian Army, or when I got my results for the UPSC Civil Services twice, I did not feel any joy. I did not feel bliss. The bliss was in the process. The bliss was in those endless nights when I was trying to do justice to the uniform. My first attempt till 2022, I was in the army. I was doing justice to the uniform I was wearing. I was posted in Samba Kathua area right across the international border with the Pakistan. I was doing justice to that job. I was studying simultaneously. There was never a question of balancing because I loved both the things. So now when we talk about the work-life balance, only one thing I would like to recommend all of you. Choose your path very consciously. Don't listen to people without applying yourself to it. Take opinion from your friends, from your teachers, from everyone. But the final call has to be yours. Because you are the driver of the ship called life. And you are the one who has it within you to take you to the mountaintop. Nobody else will do it for you. So today, because for the next 25 years, because when we talk about the work-life balance, generally it is to do with the amount of workload that is there, especially with respect to the corporate, that we have a lot of workload. So that is the reason I want all of you to be very conscious about the career path that you choose. Because if you choose something that you love, you will actually never be working. If you ask me, I love being on the stage and interacting and motivating people. I can do it for 24 hours a day without stopping. I will never consider this as work. So, today make a conscious call to choose your career path very, very carefully with awareness, that is, chit, with consciousness. And if you do that, you will never be working in life and you will never be complaining. And there is another aspect to it. In the traditional sense, if we understand or we try to understand the work-life balance, that too much of work is harmful. In the long run, yes. But there will always be times. Because if you dream of scaling the mountaintops, if you dream of scaling the Mount Everest, that is not going to be possible unless you have sleepless nights, unless you are sweating it out. In the army we say, the more we sweat in peace, the less we bleed in war. So don't shy away from working extra mile just in the name of this work-life balance. Yes, in the long run, we need to have a delicate balance of everything. That I will talk about subsequently. But never ever shy away from working hard. Don't let anybody tell you that hard work is going to be a disturbance in your work-life balance. There's nothing called work-life balance. You need to learn the art of living life effectively. Because there are limitations to the time, I cannot go on endlessly. But very quickly, I would want you to realize this thing, that there are 5 connections that we need to have on a daily basis. If you have these 5 connections, wherever you go, whatever the profession that you choose, you will never ever be found wanting in terms of this traditional work-life balance. The first and the most important thing is to connect with yourself. Introspection. On a daily basis, always keep some time spared for yourself, where you're just talking to yourself, where you're contemplating what your life is all about, where you are headed to. So this first connection is the most important one. The second connection is the connection that is emotional, of the people that we love. It's very important because we need holistic individuals. We do not need one-dimensional life. When we talk about the work-life balance, generally it is told because we fail to ensure these 5 connections. We focus on the one, overlooking the other. So one is the connection with yourself. Second is the connection with your loved ones. Always have some time dedicated in a day. It may be early in the morning, it may be late in the night, it may be over a dinner table. But spend some time with them, talk to them. As somebody was mentioning, the people you love need to be heard. They need to feel that they are heard. So second connection is the connection with your loved ones. Third is the connection with your physical health. You may work tirelessly, but unless and until you are fit, you are going to have problems. So the third connection is to stay fit. Fitness does not mean having a 6-pack abs. Fitness means being in a good physical and mental state. So spare some time every day for some kind of physical activity. The fourth connection that I want all of you to have is the professional connection. Of course, all of us have some professional dreams, some goals. You cannot focus on your family life unless you have adequate bank balance. That is also a harsh truth. So that also cannot be ignored. So have that professional connection. And the fifth and the most underrated one is the connection with nature. Every now and then, leave everything and sit in the lap of nature. Sit on top of a mountain. Sit near a stream of water and just absorb that silence. So if you can have these 5 connections on a daily basis, let me tell you, this thing called work-life balance will never come to your mind. Because I want you to remember the truth. And the truth is, all of us are invincible. All of us have it in ourselves. All of us have what it takes to be a lion. I do write some poetry also. And there is a poem that I wrote. It is titled as, "You are a lion who's born to roar." There will be mountains. There will be oceans. But just remember that you have it in you to become what you want to be. And another aspect in this entire fulcrum, in this entire story, is the fact that India today is undergoing what is called the demographic dividend. For the next 25 years or 30 years, whatever we are going to do as a country is going to shape the future of our country. If we want India to be Viksit Bharat, a developed country by 2047, by the time we celebrate 100 years of our independence, the responsibility lies on our shoulders, me and you included. So let us take this responsibility. Let us not run away from our responsibilities. If work is taken in the sense of responsibility, in the sense of duty, and not in the terms of a burden or an obligation, the entire dynamics will change. The profession is for you to choose. You can choose anything. You can be a civil servant, you can be a doctor, you can be an entrepreneur, anything. But aim to be the best in that, because India needs all of us. Our country needs all of us. And the way forward is beautifully summed up in today's topic of Sat, Chit and Anand. The Sat is the starting point. The truth that all of us are invincible. All of us are infinite in ourselves. And the root is the consciousness, is the awareness of this power that lies within us. Swami Vivekananda says that weakness is a sin. Weakness is a crime. So I don't want the youngsters of my country to be weak. I don't want youngsters of my country to be dreaming small. Feel that invincibility within you. Dream so big that even you are scared. What have you dreamt of? And finally, learn to enjoy the bliss of the process. Don't wait that you will enjoy once you are at the objective. There's no fun at the objective. It may be a momentary feeling of happiness once you clear certain examination. But after that, it's another journey. Once you're on the top of the mountain, for a moment you might enjoy the view. But after that, some next journey has to start. Because the beauty and the bliss lies in journey. And journey should be based on the 5 connections. If every day we are able to ensure at least 4 of them, and if possible 5 of them, then let me assure you, there will never be any problems in life. There will never be a situation where you will doubt yourselves. So to sum it up, all I want all of you to take home today is to have that self-belief, to have that awareness that you are sufficient, that you have that power within you, and it is you who is going to take you to the mountaintops and not anybody else. With this, I am grateful to the SAGE University for having given me this opportunity to come here and interact with such vibrant audience. And with this, I wrap it up, hoping that we will all embark upon a journey of taking India to where it deserves to be, that is Viksit Bharat, much before we celebrate 100 years of independence. Jai Hind, thank you.